Chapter 22, Rock Bottom. Rockland, Indiana, 1998. Yamura and Danny arrive in front of the Rigsby home in Danny's car. Yamura still has not gotten used to the rapid mode of transportation, but his mind is focused on more important matters. According to the lore he read in the Book of the Black Earth, only a descendant of Enkidu is capable of killing Yamura. A long time has passed since his imprisonment, and Enkidu's bloodline could number in the thousands. Because of his vessel's relation to members of Enkidu's line, Yamura is convinced that the only threats to his existence are Rusty, Derek, Mitch, and Gator Rigsby. Of those four, Derek is not a fighter, and Mitch cannot even sense energy. He knows less about the father, Gator, but Rusty seems to be the near reincarnation of Enkidu himself. The Sakari feels deep down that the key to his success lies in the death of Rusty above all others. "You are sure that this is their residence?" Yamura asks, exiting Danny's car. "Positive. I've been keeping tabs on Jake for months," Danny replies. Yamura scans his surroundings. He senses the spirits of two within the house. One of them matches the energy of Mitch, whom he encountered that previous night. The other belongs to his primary target, Rusty. Two of them are inside. The parents and one sibling are not present. Yamura grins, trying to savor the moment. Finally, after all these centuries, I will finally break free from the shackles of the past and begin writing my own destiny. All of those who opposed me in the past are long dead. Only Hui and Inyana remain, and they are still imprisoned. Once I have ended the line of Enkidu, I shall track down the containers of my sister and the Grand General and destroy them once and for all. The air distorts, and Jake senses the arrival of Yamura, snapping his spirit out of dormancy. This is it, Jake thinks. Just me and him. I'll challenge Yamura and take my body back. That bastard has done so many evil things while in control that I'm not even sure I'll ever be able to overcome the damage. That doesn't matter now. I can't be distracted. All that matters is stopping him before he can hurt anyone else. Jake moves outside and sees Yamura and Danny exiting a vehicle. Hatred burns within Jake as he sees the corrupted form of his own body before him. He knows that he'll only have one chance to get his body back. If Yamura catches on that Jake is still alive, his guard will be up. While Yamura is unaware of his presence, Jake must make the most of the surprise. Jake moves quickly and thrusts both hands into the chest of his former body. Inside, Jake is only able to feel coldness until his hands wrap around something warm. He pulls hard, grabbing with both hands and ripping Yamura's spirit out of his body. Both spirits fall to the grass. The mist enshrouds everything around them until nothing else is visible. Yamura clutches his chest, feeling cold and different. No longer within Jake's body, his appearance is like it was 10,000 years before. Pale blue skin and red eyes stand before Jake. Two long horns spiral over Yamura's head and curve back through his ears. Around his neck hangs the amulet used to fuse him to Jake's body. "How do you still exist?" Yamura asks. "You were supposed to be destroyed." "I guess someone made a mistake. I'm taking my body back, Yamura." "Surely you jest. There is no possible way you could ever defeat me. You are an insect buzzing in the face of a behemoth." Jake rushes forward, launching a flurry of fast kicks and punches. Yamura is able to block each, but is forced backwards in doing so. Jake's fists glow with a bright blue aura as the strength of his punches increases. Yamura's hands and arms begin to sting more and more with each block. Unwilling to allow him to gain an advantage, Yamura retaliates and knocks Jake to his back with a hard right hook. Jake immediately hops back to his feet, ready to attack again. I admire your determination, but I am unwilling to concede your body back to you. I have been trapped for 10,000 years. I will not return to imprisonment. Able to see through the mist, unlike Yamura, who hasn't adjusted yet, Jake runs past him towards the negative space where his body stands. Yamura turns, chasing after Jake, and the two of them simultaneously dive into the shadow and materialize in a large white room representing Jake's inner consciousness. There is no longer any room for you, Yamura growls. This body belongs to me alone. You squandered your life and wasted the potential that this vessel holds. I shall make most of the talents that you could not. Jake runs at Yamura, and they return to trading punches. Overwhelmed, Jake is again knocked back into the ground. Move on. Go to heaven, or hell, or wherever it is you belong. This body is mine, Yamura gloats, proving that Jake is no match for him one-on-one. Jake stands up, revealing that he now holds the amulet. Yamura touches his chest in surprise, finding it bare. You do not know the incantation. You cannot trap me, Yamura shouts, worry in his voice. We're both spirits. Do you think I really need an incantation to shove your ass inside of this? Yamura surrounds himself with a vortex of black energy. He extends his claws, preparing to shred Jake's soul and end his threat of regaining control. A blue glow wraps around Jake as he summons every bit of his strength his soul possesses. We end this, boy. No longer will you dream of regaining your former body. I will destroy your soul and send you to oblivion. The two forces collide, exploding in a powerful blast that jars them back out of Jake's consciousness. The amulet falls to the grass, smoke rising off it. Jake reaches down and retrieves the ancient object. What was that? Danny asks, seeing Jake moving his fingers and cracking his neck. You've been unresponsive for several minutes. The spirit that once inhabited this body paid me a visit. Do you care to explain? Danny stares at the amulet and backs away in fear. I have locked Jake's spirit away in the amulet, just as I once existed. Reciprocation for trying to trap me again. Now it will be his spirit that is trapped inside forever. Why not just destroy it? Danny asks, trying to distract Yamura from her role in keeping Jake alive. Why keep the amulet at all? Death is release. I want the boy to suffer for all eternity, unable to interact with the world ever again. Yamura narrows his eyes on the teenage girl. You perform the spell to rid this body of his spirit. I want to know what you did wrong. How was his soul not extinguished as promised? Rusty walks outside to see Yamura and Danny. Yamura, Rusty growls, having read Jake's message. Do you now realize who you're up against, and the magnitude of your impending failure? Yamura asks. Yamura leaps at Rusty and throws dozens of quick jabs. Rusty hops back, deflecting the blows. Yamura forces him backward until he is up against the wall of his house. Rusty twists to the side, Yamura's fist crashing through the wall. As he tries to pull his fist free, Rusty punches him in the face several times. Yamura's head is jolted to the side, until he pulls his arm free and mounts a defense. Rusty jumps into him, kneeing the Sakari in the chest. Yamura catches his knee, and Rusty throws both arms forward, chopping Yamura on both sides of the neck. Yamura drops him, and the boy pivots, kicking him across the face and into a row of bushes. Yamura pulls himself free from the vegetation, blood dripping from his face and arms. You are very skilled. The memories I saw within this vessel never indicated that you possessed this much strength. Jake left to train over the summer. While he was gone, I did the same. I had to be ready if he lost his mind and attacked us again. I had to prepare for the worst, Rusty says. I am the worst, Yamura says with a grin. Yamura begins to strain, concentrating all of his energy. His muscles bulge, and his veins begin to protrude. Electrical static lines crackle across his body, and the air becomes dense. His eyes turn even deeper red, and his teeth lengthen further. His hair becomes longer and more spiked. The black seeps halfway down the length of his hair on each strand. He screams, a rush of bright red energy erupting around him like a living flame. He walks towards Rusty, who leaps at him, decking the Sakari in the face. Rusty jumps back, staring in disbelief as his attack had no effect. He grabs Rusty by the arm and hurls him into the air before leaping up and kicking him back down to the windshield of Danny's car. Rusty moans, struggling to move as glass stings him from all sides. Yamura grabs Rusty's arm and pulls him from the car before slamming against its side. Rusty screams in pain. Blood explodes from the boy's mouth. Does it hurt, young one? Does it hurt to try to be a hero and fail? Rusty staggers forward, tries to throw a punch, but Yamura dodges and uppercuts the youngster in the gut. Rusty falls back, holding his stomach. Have you yet accepted that this battle is pointless? My family is depending on me. I won't fail, Rusty shouts, leaping at Yamura with a kick. Yamura throws his forearm up to block the kick and punches Rusty in the face with a hard right that knocks the boy back to the ground. You may have the blood of a hero, but you are not one. I was worried that history would repeat itself. Yet I have nothing to fear from you or your brothers. The bloodline of Enkidu has become diluted and weak. It will die today, once and for all. Yamura laughs, backhanding Rusty. Rusty sails back, slamming against the porch. The concrete pillars supporting the roof begin to crack lightly at the impact. Rusty falls to the grass, gasping for air and holding his chest. I never thought you were this kind of a monster, Jake, Mitch says, exiting the house after hearing the loud crash. But after last night, and then this, you're even worse than I ever imagined. No one attacks their family like this. Ah, Mitch, we meet again, Yamura grins. I fully intend to finish what I was unable to the last time we met. Be careful. That isn't Jake, Rusty coughs. Silence, Yamura growls, kicking Rusty in the ribs. No one gave you permission to speak. Mitch begins to approach, grabbing a broom and breaking it over his knee. Stay away from him. He's a lot stronger than either of us, Rusty screams. Screw that, Mitch shouts. I'm not letting you fight this maniac alone. Rusty rushes with a right hook before dropping low and trying to sweep Yamura's legs. Mitch swings over his brother's head with the broom handle, catching the Sakari's cheek. Yamura stumbles, and Rusty spins while still crouched, rising with a back kick to the chest. Insolent maggots, Yamura growls, holding his chest in pain. Once you are gone, No one will be able to stand in my way. We aren't going anywhere, Rusty says, remaining focused. Keep up the double team, Mitch whispers. Together we can take him down. Yamura holds out a hand, grinning. Basaya. The blast explodes between the teenagers, separating them. As Rusty scrambles to his feet, Yamura is on him with a combo of hard punches. The teen is juggled between Yamura's fists before he's sent flying back with a vicious uppercut. Mitch smacks the wooden handle across Yamura's back, splintering it. The Sakari winces in pain, but quickly turns and grabs Mitch by the throat. As the eldest, it is your duty to fall before your siblings, Yamura growls, holding his other hand up to Mitch's face. The teen can feel the pressure increasing in the area around him, and a sharp rise in air temperature. He still cannot see the energy, but Danny is able, and she looks away in shame. He's done for, Danny thinks. A swirling mass of black energy collects less than an inch from Mitch's face. They never really stood a chance. Yamura is unbeatable. Rusty attacks from behind with a kidney punch that causes Yamura to immediately drop Mitch and stagger away in pain. The Rigsby brothers quickly coordinate with a double kick to the stomach, followed by a straight punch to the face. Wow, Danny thinks in surprise. They're actually doing it. They're actually beating Yamura. I didn't think that it was possible. Yamura drops to a knee, blood drooling from his lips. The proud Sakari gasps for breath. It's clear that he's being pushed by the humans in ways that he never expected. Damn it, Yamura coughs, spitting up blood. You should not be proving this much of a challenge. Neither of you have strength anywhere close to matching mine. Unlike you, we fight to protect the things we hold dear, Rusty says. Our bonds give us strength that you'll never have. All you've ever done is shatter the bonds that Jake forged in his life, severing the ties he had with family and friends. You're all alone, and alone you can never beat us, Mitch says. Bonds? Yamura screams in a mixture of anger and hysteric laughter. I refuse to believe in such nonsense. The evidence is right before your eyes, Yamura, Rusty says. You can deny it all you want, but you will never defeat this family. Yamura sees the ghostly image of Enkidu superimposed over Rusty, and he screams into the sky as loudly and emotionally as he can, venting all of his frustrations. No, you are wrong. All of the faith in your bonds are misplaced. Power is what matters, not family. My power is absolute. There's no mortal in this world that is my equal. Yamura's aura flashes brightly, whipping out with violent winds. The teens are pushed back by the intensity. The asphalt begins to crack, and the streetlights explode one by one as far as anyone can see. The vegetation nearby dries out and bursts into flames. Yamura draws his aura back into him, and in an instant, he appears between Rusty and Mitch. Before the teens can react, Yamura kicks Rusty in the ribs and punches Mitch in the jaw. Both teens bounce off the ground several times, propelled by the incredible force of Yamura's strikes. Yamura does not relent, immediately focusing two swirling orbs of black energy in his hands. He's gonna kill them, Danny thinks, her entire body trembling in horror. And when he's done with them, I'm next. My only chance at survival is helping these two against Yamura. None of us can take him on alone. I may not have their bonds or whatever, but they don't have my magic either. Danny stands in indecision. Her hands shake as she's unable to decide what to do. He's gonna kill me for saving Jake's spirit. I've already chosen a side in this. Danny quickly conjures chains to bind Yamura's wrists and ankles. She dives past him grabbing the amulet off the ground where it dropped while fighting Rusty. "Meddlesome little bitch. I knew you betrayed me by keeping Jake alive instead of disposing of his spirit. You will suffer the most of all of these wretches," Yamura says, flexing his arm muscles and outpouring his energy into them to shatter the bonds. "You are an experienced child. The level of your spellcraft could not imprison an infant Upas." Yamura moves in front of Danny with a blur of movement and backhands the girl into the air. She lands on her back atop of her own car, sinking in several inches. Yamura walks over to the motionless teen, but both Rusty and Mitch move to intercept him. "Fools, this female means nothing to you. She offered your kin up to become my sacrifice. She is as much of your enemy as I am. She tried to stand up against you. That's enough for her to not deserve to be killed by you," Rusty says. "You cannot stop me. Just as your cousin and this girl have failed, so too will you." "Between the two of us, we can bring you down," Mitch says, glancing at his brother, who nods. "The confidence that you have in each other is misplaced. Both of you are equally unfit to attempt to defeat me. Even together, you shall come up lacking." Rusty moves first, swinging at Yamura with a right hook. Yamura tilts his head to the side and thrusts his own fist outwards, catching Rusty in the chest and knocking him backwards. Mitch moves in from the side, attempting to strike with the broom. Yamura pivots, kicking Mitch in the chest and knocking him to the ground. He rolls Mitch over to his back with his foot and stands on his chest, grinning. "Your mental abuse was pivotal in Jake's downfall. Had you not been around, he would not have been ready for me, and so much blood would not be on either of your hands." "Shut up," Mitch coughs. "Jake was a pussy if he couldn't take it. I only made him tougher." Yamura grabs Mitch by the neck and lifts him off the grass. "And that, you did a remarkable job. I am enjoying the benefits of his toughness as we speak. His body was one of only a handful in the world that could withstand the presence of a Sakari spirit and not be destroyed." Yamura pulls Mitch closer to his face and whispers, "Tell me, do you think that your own body could handle that?" Yamura presses his other palm flat against Mitch's face and covers his nose and mouth. "We were so rudely interrupted the last time. You shall not be lucky again. Basaya." Rusty dives at Yamura, trying to tackle him off of his brother. Expecting this, Yamura sidesteps and turns his hand to release the energy back at him instead. Rusty screams in pain as the black energy slams into him and drives all of the air from his lungs. He hits the ground and rolls, piling up earth with his face. Yamura moves his hand back to Mitch, but pauses as he senses a very powerful aura approaching rapidly. Gator's large black Ford truck comes into view. Without slowing, Gator dives out of his truck and rolls across the grass and draws his gun from his hip. The man rolls and rises in one fluid motion, coming to his feet and aiming at the Sakari. "Put my son the fuck down," Gator says, keeping his aim fixed on Yamura. The muscles in his arms flex, revealing a man whose body is still in prime condition, despite living for years in peacetime. Gator's truck continues forward past them, driving off into a ditch. Neither Yamura or Gator blink, locked in an intense standoff. In this body, I do not believe that I could move fast enough to dodge that weapon. If I were to be hit, this body could collapse and die, Yamura thinks, moving Mitch around to act as a shield between them. He would not dare shoot his offspring. Danny begins to stir, rolling off the hood and to her feet. Shakily, she raises a hand towards Yamura. Aginestra, Danny coughs, catching Yamura's legs on fire. Yamura drops Mitch to the ground in order to pat out the flames with his hands. Gator moves quickly to gather his sons out of the way, with nothing to guard him, and now facing 4 opponents. Yamura decides that it's time for him to cut his losses and flee. You have gained a reprieve for now. I assure you that I will return, and you will all die, Yamura says, concealing himself in a cloud of black smoke. Dambe. I toyed with them too much. With the girl now possessing the amulet, they have an ally with the knowledge of how to separate me from this body. I must gain as much power as I can quickly, and kill her first. Without her, it will just be a matter of brute force against me. With enough gathered strength, I should be able to defeat even their father, Yamura thinks. Yamura's magical shroud fades, and the humans are left to ponder how best to move forward. I need to follow him, Danny says. I have to get the book we used to start all of this mess. With it, I might be able to reverse it and place Jake's spirit back inside his body and draw Yamura's out. Danny looks over at her wrecked car before her eyes move to Mitch's truck. Oh, hell no, Mitch protests as both she and Rusty look at him. I don't let anybody drive my truck. Would you rather him catch Mom at work? Rusty asks. Be gentle with her. She's my baby, Mitch says, tossing Danny his keys. Gator scratches his head, looking at the crack running up the support beam on the porch and the hole in his wall. What was all that about? What was wrong with Jake? Is he possessed? Gator asks. I don't recognize the energy that was coming from him. It was unlike any being I've ever encountered. Everyone turns to look at the Elder Rigsby with surprise. There's a lot about my past I haven't told you, but now's not the time. If this girl says she knows the spell to put him out of commission, then we have to put our faith in her. None of the rest of us know shit about magic, Gator adds. Yamura enters town, running as quickly as he can. He uses Jake's lingering memories to keep to the back roads, knowing that the others will be pursuing him shortly. As soon as he reaches the city, he is met with a police blockade. 3 squad cars block the road, and half a dozen armed officers stand out front. Stop! You're under arrest, a young red-haired officer named Andy shouts. Put your hands up where we can see them. You have no idea what you have entered into, human. Your lives will provide my vengeance with fuel. Yamura throws his hands out, exploding the police cars with bursts of black energy that the officers are unable to see. The cops are knocked to the ground, and Yamura approaches them, chanting. Andy tries to reach for his gun, but Yamura crushes his neck with his heel. A second officer manages to crawl to his feet just in time for Yamura to grab him by the throat. Another officer fires from behind, shooting Yamura in the back twice. The Sakari heals the gunshots by releasing the energy stored within 2 of his tattoos, and crushes the neck of the officer in his grip to gain a new marking on his arm. Yamura turns, firing a pulse of black energy into the officer at his back, knocking him back violently. Soon all of the officers are dead. Tribal tattoos glow on Yamura's arms, chest, and back, having absorbed the life forces of the slain with the magic of his Seal Asilaire ability. I will need much more energy if I am to defeat the Elder Rigsby, Yamura thinks, as he walks past the still burning police cars. Frightened civilians flee in terror, having witnessed this monstrous man explode cars with invisible bombs from his hands. He hears sirens and quickly darts down several alleys, vanishing into the shadows. Conco Pharmaceuticals, Rockland, Indiana. Facility Director Roger Boyd stands alone in his office, having finished looking over a recent newspaper article. "You better have more positive news for me than the Rockland Gazette," Boyd says in irritation as the mysterious Chicago representative slips into the room unannounced. "Not especially," the man says, his voice more like a hiss. "Your activities in town are drawing more attention than expected. Management is very curious why you are leaving behind bodies to be found by the police." Boyd crumples the newspaper in his hands and throws it at the representative. "It isn't us. There is a serial killer on the loose." The representative unwads the paper and begins reading the lead story. "More bodies found as the toll rises into double digits. Who is stalking the streets of Rockland?" He seems to be mostly targeting street trash. "Mostly, but not exclusively. 2 of my employees have also been killed. This nuisance needs dealt with before those on the police force not on our take begin snooping around looking for answers. I don't need them linking the disappearances to ones we are responsible for in the past." "You have resources. Use them," the representative says, coldly as he turns to leave. "Sending out GX-enhanced operatives is a tad overkill, don't you think? This is just some bottom-feeding murderer. Why use anti-aircraft guns when a pistol will suffice?" "Your choice." The representative turns back to face the director, his eyes yellow and reptilian-looking. "I would, however, urge you not to take this so lightly. There are whispers that something old has awakened in your city." Boyd laughs. "I don't buy into superstitions. We deal only with science here at Conco." "Right," the representative says, turning back around. "Practice that speech for when the police come to question you." "Bastard!" Boyd shouts, punching his desk as soon as the representative leaves. Danny reaches Schaefer's dojo and hurries inside, hoping that she's managed to beat Yamura there. "Did you kill the boy and his family?" Elian asks. "No. They're alive. Their father had a gun. It was too much for even Yamura." "Where is Yamura?" "He wasn't killed, was he?" "He's off on his own. He's angry at losing and killing random people in town to blow off steam." Elian's face loses all color. His worst fears claw to the surface to escape. No longer can he maintain the fantasy that he can keep Yamura in check to kill only his enemies. He does not possess a Sakari attack dog that will gain him renown and wealth. Instead, he's unleashed an uncontrollable monster upon the world. "We have to stop him," Elian whispers, regretting what he's done. "This isn't what I wanted. I never wanted innocent people to die. Yamura is far too evil for any of us to control." Danny and Glaus both freeze, neither expecting to hear this. "I have the amulet that contained Yamura's spirit, and it now contains Jake's. If I can get the book, we might be able to switch them," Danny replies. She is relieved that her sensei has come to his senses. Together, they might be able to pull off an upset victory against the much stronger Yamura. "The book's on my desk in the basement," Elian says, tossing Danny his office keys. "After all this, you're just going to try and put the genie back in the bottle?" Sensei, we gain nothing from freeing Yamura, Glaus says. Sometimes it's better to gain nothing than to lose everything. If Yamura continues down this path, nothing will stop him from killing your loved ones. Do you want that? Do you want him to kill your parents and your sisters? Glaus shakes his head and says no more. Yamura walks down an alley, seeing two muggers beating a man and stealing his wallet. What are you looking at? You want to get cut too? One of the men asks, waving a small knife at Yamura. I require your life forces to empower me and recharge my strength. This fucker ain't right in the head, the other mugger whispers. You will only provide me minimal power, like a firefly, to charge an entire city. But alas, I must make do. The first mugger lunges at Yamura with his knife, but the Sakari easily sidesteps. Yamura drops his elbow down onto the man's head and quickly grabs him by the neck, snapping it as he chants under his breath. A tribal tattoo appears on his right forearm. You're a fucking demon! Get away! The other mugger screams, running away. You have no idea how close you are, Yamura says, consuming the man with a Basaiya energy blast. Thank you, the victim of the robbery whispers as he stands up. Yamura grabs the man by the throat. It's not your thanks that I desire, Yamura says, snapping the man's neck. Yamura returns to the dojo and is greeted by Elian, who acts as if Danny never came by. How did it go? Yamura grabs Elian and slams his back against the wall. Do not speak friendly to me. Your pupil has betrayed me. Danny? What do you mean? Elian coughs, trying to breathe. Instead of removing and destroying Jake's spirit, she preserved it and hid it away somewhere. She then attempted to attack me and failed. If she returns here, I'll deal with her personally. Yamura releases Elian and begins to pace the room. I require more energy. Their father was much stronger than I anticipated. Even without a gun, I fear he would be too much for me in my present condition. You couldn't kill a kid or his old man? Glaus asks. We got ripped off. This demon is a dud. Elian waves his hands frantically, trying to silence his student. Excuse me? Yamura asks. I bet I could take you and that kid at the same time. I could have beaten Jake before he's bonded to you, if we'd been allowed to go all out. I don't believe that gaining your spirit gave him that much more of a power boost. Stop it, Glaus, Elian shouts. Your student has a loose tongue, Yamura growls. I believe I will cut it out. Yamura begins to approach Glaus, but Elian steps between them. No, Yamura. I won't let you touch him. Are you foolish enough to challenge me? Yamura asks, surprised. Of every human in this world, I would have assumed that you would grasp the scope of my power. Oh, I'm fully aware of your power, Elian says. But I've also seen the evil that you're capable of. Yamura laughs. How many men have you murdered? And you have the nerve to pass judgment on me? Who better? It's true that I'm no more moral than you. That's why this world needs neither of us in it. So you would sacrifice yourself to be rid of me? After all you did to bring me into this world? Your actions defy all reason. I've just realized that there are things in this world that I want to protect more than pursuing greater strength. Protect? Yamura looks around. He raises a finger and quickly fires a concentrated beam of his energy through the chest of one of Elian's students, killing him instantly. Do you mean them? No more! Elian screams, running at Yamura. The Sakari pivots, blocking Elian's first strike with his forearm, and retaliates with a gut punch. The larger man stumbles back, but Glaus immediately attacks from the side. Yamura defends the teen's attack and easily bats him across the room. There is no coming back from this decision. You have chosen death. Elian again rushes, but Yamura slaps each punch aside before delivering a straight-arm jab to the nose. Blood runs down Elian's face, but he remains determined. Even at half of my full strength, you would not prove challenging, Yamura says. You are throwing your life away. Your sacrifice is pointless. I will kill everyone that you've sworn to protect. Glaus leaps at Yamura and hits him in the face with a full-force roundhouse kick. Yamura stands motionless, unaffected by the blow. You monkeys refuse to admit that you are weak. I'll show you weak, Glaus shouts, rearing back to punch. Yamura materializes behind the teen and grabs his fist, bending his arm backwards with a sickening snap. Blood sprays from his exposed arm bones. Yamura chants, then delivers an open palm to the nose and kills Glaus. Yes, you have shown me weak. Danny runs up the stairs with the book, but stops in horror as she witnesses Yamura killing Glaus. Elian sees Danny in the corner of his eye, holding the book. Magical chains wrap around Yamura's wrists and stretch his arm back. Elian rushes forward, delivering a combo of body shots before the Sakari knees the man in the chest and jerks his arm forward to pull Danny off balance. Danny stumbles towards Yamura, but Elian intercepts with a kick to the face. The blow staggers the Sakari and gives Elian and Danny the opening to blast Yamura through the wall with a coordinated burst of magical fire. He has come so far only to realize that he must make a stand against Yamura and allow his students the chance to escape. For over 200 years, the Schaefer family has been cursed by the ancient amulet containing Yamura's spirit. Shame, murder, and insanity have long been their birthright. He now knows that this is the chance to end the shame of his family, so that his daughters do not inherit his legacy. Marcus, get everyone out of the dojo now, Elian screams. Staying here will only get you killed. Yamura growls, elbowing Elian across the face and crawling to his feet. There is nowhere here that they can run to be safe from my wrath, Yamura growls. Agone, Astra, Elian says, trying to attack with a combustion spell. The spell explodes in Elian's face, knocking him to his back. Damn, I must be too out of practice. It said the incantation incorrectly. Yamura walks towards Elian, undaunted by his failed attempt at offense. Agonestra, Danny screams, hitting the Sakari in the chest with a magical fireball. Yamura is blasted back against another wall, denting it. You are going to suffer above all others. Go, Danny tells Marcus. We'll handle this. The blood on Sensei's hands are on mine as well. Reluctantly, Marcus nods and begins to usher the other students outside. Yamura crawls to his feet, but is blasted through the nearest wall with more magical fire. "You don't have to do this," Elian says, stepping up beside Danny. "This is my mess to clean up, not yours. I chose to help bring this monster into our world. No one forced me." Elian nods. "If there's no swaying you, then we'll do this together." He smiles sadly. "A teacher could not ask for a better student than you, Danny." Yamura crawls from the hole, waves of black energy rippling off his body. The Sakari's chest heaves, and his fangs and claws have all extended. "There will be no relief from the exquisite tortures that I bring upon you," he growls. "Any chance you know some more spells that you've forgotten to teach me?" Danny asks nervously. "He can overpower my chains. My fire magic is only good enough for knockbacks. I don't think we've actually dealt much damage to him at all. I wish I had. Unfortunately, you've far surpassed me in magic." Elian balls his fists, tightening every muscle in his body for attack. All this old dog has is his fighting spirit. "That will not be enough," Yamura shouts, throwing his hand out and separating the two with a burst of black energy. As Danny and Elian separate, Yamura targets the girl for attack. The Sakari appears in Danny's path, intercepting the teen with a kick to the face, followed by a Basa Iya energy blast with both hands to the chest. Danny screams in pain as she is thrown backwards across the room from the explosion. Elian attacks with everything he has, forcing Yamura to back up several steps while blocking each furious punch and kick. Yamura retaliates with fast strikes between Elian's attacks, but the man continues to advance. "Restrainta!" Danny coughs, shakily lifting her head from the floor and outstretching her hand. Magical chains wrap around Yamura's ankle, and she pulls hard, allowing Elian to deliver a devastating right hook to the jaw that drives the Sakari to a knee. "Damn you all!" Yamura screams, flaring his aura out in all directions. The magical chains shatter, and Elian is knocked to his back. This insolence has gone on long enough. It's time for me to show you both why I will be a god, and you will cease to exist. "Varian Astra," Elian says, shaking his mistake off and pushing Yamura back with a conjured wind. Yamura pushes through the wind, punching Elian in the face and knocking him back against the wall. Elian attempts to cast another spell, but Yamura punches him several times in the face until his head hangs down to the side and he collapses to the floor. Danny makes a move for the door, but Yamura hurls a Basa Iya energy blast towards her to block her escape. "Where are you going, girl? Did you think that I did not sense you this entire time? You can't keep this up, Yamura. You're killing innocent people." "Innocents? Like him?" Yamura asks, pointing to Elian. "None of you filthy, hormone-addled wretches are innocent. You kill each other for far more petty reasons than any Sakari has. We aren't perfect, but that doesn't give you the right to murder us. Power is the ultimate right. One crushes an insect, not with reason or desire. It is sheer power that seals that being's fate. I am far stronger than I was even a few hours ago. You could not lay a hand on me back then. What makes you think that your chances have improved? If I have to give up my life to stop you, I will. I helped to create this mess, and the blood of all of you've killed is on my hands as well. Jake wasn't evil. We forced him into this. He opened the door that set me free with his jealousy, envy, and anger. He alone unlocked the darkness in his heart. And he paid for that. But you don't have the right to use his body to murder people. I do not require a morality lesson from you, child. You are irritating me. Yamura moves quickly, backhanding Danny through the main door outside. Your spirit will be the boost that I require to finish the boy and his father. That is your only remaining purpose. Danny grabs a shard of glass and presses it against her neck. I'll kill myself before I let you take my life force and use it to hurt anyone else. Yamura begins to laugh. I do not have to be the one to take your life. If you die in any manner while I have performed Ciel Asalaire, I have the ability to snatch your soul out of the air as it departs for the underworld. Danny drops the glass, her hand shaking. I would have allowed you to live had it not been for your betrayal. I do not break vows of honor. When I vow to spare you humans, I intend to do so. It is you who has forced this upon yourself. You're a murderer. You have no honor, Danny screams, releasing an unexpected wave of energy that knocks Yamura through the wall and back inside the building. That was not magical energy. That power came from her spirit, Yamura thinks. Danny focuses her energy into 2 red orbs in her hands. She hurls the energy at Yamura, but he catches them and immediately throws them back. The blasts hit Danny in the chest and propel her onto the top of a red minivan in the parking lot. The roof caves in, and the windshield and side windows shatter outwards as she lands. She screams in pain, blood drooling from her open mouth. Yamura grabs her by the throat and throws her back through the wall into the dojo. It is time. Kux ra ma ni Kalutak. Danny begins to chant, but Yamura kicks her in the side and knocks her against the far wall. She holds her sides and chest, vomiting blood as she cries out desperately and attempts to catch her breath. Elian grabs Yamura from behind, locking him in a full Nelson hold. Danny, run now! Yamura breaks his grip easily and turns, grabbing him by the throat. You brought me back into this world. You are responsible for every life I've taken. Why do you defy me? I wanted power, but it isn't worth the cost, Elian says. Yamura shoves his free arm through Elian's chest and pulls out his heart. The Sakari stares at the still pulsating muscle as he releases Elian's body and allows it to fall in a heap at his feet. Yamura chants, absorbing the sensei's essence before hurling his heart against the wall, where it explodes in a shower of bright red chunks. Danny crawls out the door, trying to escape. Your master's life force was invigorating. I am now much stronger than before. Yamura grabs Danny by the face and throws her against the side of the red minivan. You have proven to be resilient, but that alone will not save your life. Soon, my kind will sweep over this world and end the human plague once and for all. Police sirens sound in the distance, but grow louder as if coming directly for them. Because of you, Master Schaefer is wanted by the police for murder, Danny coughs. The man in the basement. He must have documented his last location to his allies before I killed him, Yamura thinks in anger. In seconds, the area is swarmed with police cars. 6 vehicles carrying twice as many uniformed officers, arrive at the scene, pushes just enough caution into the revived Sakari to force his grip to loosen. Twice you have been saved by sheer luck, Yamura growls, tossing Danny aside. There will not be a third time. Yamura again uses the Danbei spell to conceal himself in a black cloud and escapes. Paramedics tend to Danny's wounds, and the girl is barely coherent enough to know what is going on. Several officers enter the dojo to find the bodies of 2 teenage males and their primary suspect, Elian Schaefer. What happened here? Who killed them? I thought Elian Schaefer was our serial killer, asked Detective Osteen of IMPD Homicide. It must be the killer with all the goth makeup we heard about. The locals got a tip about an hour ago and set up a blockade to catch him. He apparently had explosives concealed and killed numerous officers and civilians, Lieutenant Andrew Hendricks replies. Anyone ID the suspect? We have numerous scared witnesses, but they were all only able to give descriptions. He calls himself Yamura, Danny whispers from a stretcher as paramedics lift her into the ambulance. He's a demon. She's been going on about this demon. She's in shock, Detective Morris says, who's been questioning her. Go with her to the hospital. We'll catch up later, Lieutenant Hendricks says. Osteen investigates the rest of the dojo and discovers the stairwell leading to the dungeon-like basement. A shout of horror is followed by furious cursing. The others rush to see what Osteen has found. What is it? Hendricks asks. Osteen trembles, so upset that he's near tears. That bastard. He killed Dwayne. No, Morris whispers in disbelief. That can't be. Are you sure? Hendricks asks, pushing past his companion. He finds the body of Rollins in the stone hallway at the bottom of the stairs. Dwayne, Hendricks whispers. Who could have done this to you? Why did you have to come here and try to take him on all alone, you selfish bastard? We had your back. We could have taken him down together. If Schaefer is dead upstairs with his heart removed, who the hell killed Dwayne? Schaefer couldn't have killed him and then come up here to cut out his own heart, Morris says. That girl is our best eyewitness. We need to get past the delusions caused by her shock and get some answers as soon as possible, Osteen says. She may be our witness, or she may be our new prime suspect. We have to be careful. If she was able to kill both Schaefer and Dwayne, she isn't to be taken lightly, Hendricks says. And we can't forget about the ability to set people on fire that we previously attributed to Schaefer. Our killer is still out there, and he or she is far more dangerous than we thought before. Danny is loaded into the ambulance and taken to the east side of town to Rockland Medical Center.